One of the things that I love to use large language models for is helping me do research. So I'm going to test four of the biggest, most powerful AI research assistants: ChatGPT, Perplexity, Profundo, which is a new one, and U.com's research tool.
Nice. Comparing different tools can really highlight their strengths and weaknesses. Anything specific you're hoping to find or achieve with the research? Or are you just testing the waters?
Good question. I'm definitely testing the waters to see what might work best in my workflow, but I also want to make content that helps everyone get a better understanding of what tool might be best for them.
That's a great approach. People will definitely appreciate the insights. As you explore, it might be interesting to see how each handles different types of queries or how their responses vary in depth and sources.
So here's the four tools we're analyzing: ChatGPT, Perplexity, Profundo, and U.com's research tool. Here's the four high level criteria I'm using: citations, being able to customize the layout of the final report. Is it on the more concise side or the more in depth side? And without going into too much detail yet, I will tell you Perplexity and Profundo were the two standout tools for me, and I think they have different use cases. You'll notice on the far right here, Profundo is the only tool that got two thumbs up on generating in-depth reports. So if you need a super in-depth report, Profundo's your tool. Perplexity, on the other hand, is the only tool that got two thumbs up on citations. I think that's an absolutely critical feature in a research assistant. And so for that reason, I think these are the two tools that I would use: Perplexity for more concise reports and Profundo for more in-depth reports, but we're going to go into a lot more detail in the rest of the video. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do when testing these tools out is I want to come up with a prompt or some sort of research ask that I can give to all of these tools. Okay, so I have my final prompt. I'll read it out loud. Analyze the historical impact of the Silk Road on global trade and draw parallels with modern digital marketplaces. Include economic, cultural, and legal perspectives. Additional instructions: cite your sources, provide a bulleted summary in the beginning, provide a detailed full report, provide a conclusion at the end. Okay, so let's go one by one and just enter these in, and we can see kind of what the interaction looks like just to start off, how the tool starts generating output. So this is ChatGPT. Okay, cool. So as we know, I'm sure many of you have already used ChatGPT. It just kind of starts putting out data, sending tokens out and displaying them in real time. I don't see any citations yet. I wonder if it's actually going to do that. That was one concern that I had with ChatGPT from the beginning: is it actually going to cite its sources? It doesn't typically do that. Sometimes it does. Oh, I spoke too soon. I was hoping for links. I was hoping for links to sources, but we did get some citations here. We'll take a closer look at those here in a minute. Let's go over to Perplexity, pop the same prompt in. I'm using the Pro, okay? This is a Pro query. You can turn that off or on. I just want to highlight that I'm using Pro because those are very different experiences in Perplexity. So here's what the Pro output is going to look like. We're doing a Pro search. It looks like it's doing a few different internet queries, gathering some sources here. I think this is really cool. One of the things Perplexity does is it actually links to your sources. And here's the answer: a summary, bulleted list, detailed analysis, etc., and a conclusion. Okay, great. We'll take a closer look at that here in a minute. Next is Profundo. Popping in the same prompt here. It looks a little bit weird. Let's see. Okay, it's all there. Yeah, their UI is maybe just not quite as polished yet, but that's okay. We won't hold that against them. Let me just take a peek at the advanced options. Okay, so you can choose the model, number of selections, and search types: web, news, scholar. Very interesting, very interesting. All right, let's see what the output looks like. Okay, definitely looks a little bit rougher than the first two. Okay, it's a little bit slower as well, but that's okay. If the output's great, then we don't care so much about the speed, huh? Down here at the bottom, I don't know if you can see, it says searching the web. So here's my prompt. Here's a few web searches I think that it's making. It found 6 sources. Okay, you can hover on them. Interesting. So already pretty different than the first 2 tools. It's still okay. It says summarizing results. This is quite slow comparatively. So if it's this slow, I'm hoping that the output is quite a bit better. All right, so outline summary. The summary will be used to outline your document. Interesting. And then there's a step 2 of 3. Click the button to create an plan for your create a plan for your paper, maybe. I can also edit. Wow, this is a completely different kind of paradigm here. I can edit. Okay, I'm gonna just cancel that edit and click create plan, just so I can kind of get it to finish its output here, and then we'll circle back again and take a closer look. So these sources I can hover over, and it looks like okay, yeah, it just takes me to the website. Cool. So that's pretty similar to on Perplexity's side. These sources take you to the website. Hopping back over to Profundo. Oh, interesting. So this is definitely multi-step. This is a much more interactive. So I have a summary here, review and edit outline. Okay, so here's my outline. Oh, wow. This feels very, very different. Historical significance, economic impact, modern parallels, conclusion. I can add questions, I can generate questions. And then step 3 of 3, click to start writing your paper. Oh, so it's not even done. It's not even done writing the paper yet. I'm going to go ahead and write the paper and see what it does. It's planning all of these. These sections of the document are in motion, and the previous questions that we saw within each one are being considered by the model. We know it's using GPT-4o, so I guess it's generating a bunch of content for us. It says finding source here at the bottom. But okay, cool. We can scroll up and actually see the previous stuff outline that we created. From silk to silicon, tracing the threads of commerce and culture through the ages. I like that title. It's a good title. From silk to silicon. Okay, it looks like it's wrapping up here. So we have our introduction, primary goods traded. There's some links to citations. Good. I'm going to take a closer look at that. And here's our conclusion, economic impact. It's still generating sections though. It looks like each section has a conclusion perhaps, but this is a much longer output than the previous 2 tools. References with links. Interesting. Wow. This is a lot of content, and I can download it. I just got to click download to see what happens. Let's take a look. Does it give me a PDF? A nicely formatted PDF? That would be kind of cool. And look at this. Look, it did give me a PDF. Wow. Let me move my face over here to the right so I'm out of your way. Look at this. From silk to silicon, 1 views. Interesting. Powered by Profundo. Yeah, this feels different immediately from ChatGPT and Perplexity. I feel like this is solving a different problem. Okay, let's move on to u.com. Okay, I'm in u.com now. Again, I clicked the research option here at the bottom. I'm just using a standard account. I'm not paying for u.com. So I'm going to pop in our prompt here, and let's see how u.com handles it. It's researching, it's searching. This is a pattern. It's showing a bunch of different sources. So Britannica, Typeset, History, I'm not sure, National Geographic. I assume these are different sources. Cool. Okay, so it's actually following the instructions pretty well as well. Summary, and then detailed report. Ooh, images. Hello. This is the first one to provide images. That's cool. I like that. Look at these nice. The formatting's really nice. Okay, and then conclusion. Great. Okay, let's first evaluate these tools based on how well they followed the additional instructions. Did it cite its sources? Did it provide a bulleted summary followed by a detailed report followed by a conclusion? Can it just follow instructions? And then we'll take another pass and we'll look at the actual content of the output. So first off, did it follow instructions? ChatGPT, we got a bulleted summary. We've got a detailed report, also with bullets, which I don't mind actually. I kind of like bullet points. I probably could have told it to make the detailed summary paragraph format, but I didn't. Okay, this is the detailed section, followed by a conclusion, followed by sources. Okay, I mean, technically, yeah. Technically, it followed the instructions. I would prefer for the sources to be links throughout the content so I can actually map them to specific sections. Did it even provide callouts to the sources in the content? No, it did not. It didn't even provide, for example, a 1 in brackets next to a section of text that was using this source. So really what this means for me is this is extra work for me, right? When it comes to verifying that these sources, one, exist, because we know that models can hallucinate, and two, that they're reputable and that I like the sources. This is extra work for me. So I think ChatGPT did a pretty good job in terms of following instructions, but citing the sources, I think it got a B, maybe a C plus. It was just okay. Okay, let's look at Perplexity. We got the bulleted summary at the top. Great. Detailed report next. Okay, looks about right. Oh, it actually broke up. You know, that's one thing. I found that Perplexity is perhaps one of the best at following instructions. If you ask for something, so I'm just going to come up here, draw parallels with modern digital marketplaces, including economic, cultural, legal perspectives. Okay, we didn't explicitly ask it to break those into specific sections, but it just did that. Economic, cultural, and legal perspectives. Did GPT do that? Let's take a look. It kind of did, kind of. Yeah, economic, cultural, legal. It did a pretty good job there too. And then does it have a conclusion? Yes. Yes, it does. It followed the instructions. And then Perplexity is great at citing sources. I already know that. I use it so often. 8 sources with links to the pages. So I don't have to do a ton of extra work verifying that the source exists because I can simply click it and look. Does it look like a reputable source? Probably, yes. It's published in a law journal, and if I really want to read it, I can. But the other thing that Perplexity does that I think is really helpful is in line, it provides the citations right here, right? Let me zoom in for you a bit if I can. So in line, you see this number 2. When I hover over it, it gives me a popover that shows me which source is being cited there. And I can also just click it and it opens up the source. Cool, the Silk Road Connecting People and Culture. This looks actually like a fun read. Maybe I'll read that tonight. So good job, Perplexity. I think in terms of following the additional instructions, you did great. You did a great job. Profundo, let's look at Profundo's output. So Profundo did give us that kind of amazing PDF as well, but I'm just going to stick with the web view. So did it follow instructions? Did it give me a bulleted summary at the beginning? It did not, did it? Nope, it didn't do it. Didn't give me a bulleted summary. Okay. It gave me, well, here's a summary up here. I don't want to ding it until we take a close look. Nope, outline. Not really. These are questions. These aren't actual statements. Okay, no, it did not do that. Did it give me a detailed report? You betcha. It gave me a very detailed report. Probably the most detailed report. Look how long this thing is. I'm just going to guess before I read all of these, which I will, that that Profundo's detailed report is going to be the outlier in terms of quality. Did it cite its sources? It looks like it probably did. I mean, there's definitely links here. There's not a ton. Let's scan this again. Oh, look at that. Source. And here's another source. Okay, it's in line. That's cool. It's linking to sources in line. Here's another. I just want to look at another source really quick because that first one was a little bit. Okay, just linking to an article. Sweet. And then at the bottom, I want to take a look because it did some references. So what's going on here? I think these are some of the sources that it linked to as well. Here's a big essay. Okay. I mean, yeah, I think it cited its sources. It provided a detailed report, but it did not give me the summary, the bulleted summary, and a conclusion at the end, like I asked. So we're going to give it okay marks on following instructions. Let's look at u.com. Okay, u.com. We got a title here, followed by a bulleted list summary. That's nice. Followed by a detailed report. It literally just titles it detailed report, which I don't mind. Let's just be literal here. I appreciate that. I know what it's trying to do. Introduction, economic impact with that cool image, cultural, legal. Very interesting. So it did kind of something similar to GPT and to Perplexity. And then it did some parallels with a conclusion. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's following instructions. And then, like Perplexity, it has inline citations. Does it batch up the citations? Yeah, I think so. Okay, nice. So if I click these, it opens up a new page. Cool. I think these little pills here are helpful that I can see the logo and the name. But one thing Perplexity does that's just a little bit better than everyone else in terms of citation. It also gives me the title of the page, so I see it's Cambridge, but the impact of digitization on global trade law. Like, okay, cool. That's way more context than what I'm getting with u.com, which is just the name of the brand or the website, which doesn't actually tell me all that much about what's behind that click. But it does have inline, and if I hover it, it gives me more context. So it's good. I mean, I think it's good. I think u.com did an excellent job following instructions. So the only ones that didn't do quite right is GPT with the citations. I think the citation experience is kind of weak here. And then Profundo, we know that we don't, at least in my attempt, I was not able to control the format, the layout of the final document. So it just kind of did its own thing. Okay, so I've read through all the reports, and I think this is how they stack up in my mind. Here's how the 4 tools stack up in terms of being a research aid. So there's 4 criteria I'm evaluating on. How good are they at citations? Can you control the layout? Can you customize the layout if that's important to you? It's important to me. Are they more on the concise side in terms of how long and detailed the report is, or are they more on the in-depth side? So OpenAI, ChatGPT, in terms of citations, it did the worst. It just did the worst. It didn't even add inline links, and I have to do a bunch of work to verify the citation, the source is legitimate. Customizing layout, it's great at this. I didn't even really push it that hard. You can do so much with customizing the layout with ChatGPT. I think it's more on the concise side by default. You can also make it more concise. You can ask it to be more robust and lengthy. But I think by default, yeah, I would say it's more on the concise side. And I would give it a thumbs down on being super, super in-depth. And that's mostly compared to Profundo, right? I had to give everyone a thumbs down on in-depth because Profundo generated a giant PDF for me that was super, super in-depth, and no one else even came close to that. So that's why these are all thumbs down for in-depth except for Profundo. Looking at Perplexity, it just did the best in citations. This continues to be why I come back to Perplexity. It is such a great tool in terms of generating a quick, fairly concise, layout customizable report with an excellent citation experience. It shows me in line which source is being cited. It shows me above and on hover what that source is, what the title of the document is, and I can just click into it. It's so easy. It's the best citation experience. Has great layout customization if you want to customize the layout of the final output. I think it's more on the concise side. It's kind of hard to get it to generate a ton like Profundo, and for that reason, I give it a thumbs down on in-depth. Profundo, it's pretty good with the citation piece. Not as much as Perplexity stand out, but it's pretty good. I gave it a thumbs up. Customizing the layout, I basically didn't have any control over that. Maybe this should be 2 thumbs down because it just did its thing, right? It just did its thing. It generated a massive report. And so for that reason, it's a thumbs down on being concise. But It's the only double thumbs up on in-depth, right? This is the standout. This is probably, well, I would say this is the reason to use Profundo. If you want a tool that makes it really, really easy to generate super in-depth reports, Profundo is your tool. U.com, you'll notice it's kind of the same as Perplexity. The output was pretty similar. The experience is pretty similar. The only real difference is I gave it 1 thumbs up on citations instead of 2 thumbs up. This is somewhat aesthetic to me. I think the citation designs and experience on Perplexity really just is best in class. On U.com, I think it was almost there, but not quite as good. And that's the big differentiator there. And for that reason, I'm probably just not using U.com's research tool. I'm probably just using Perplexity. Perplexity or Profundo, or if I just want to talk to a model, I'll use ChatGPT. I don't have a strong reason to go to U.com. That tool isn't baked into my workflow already. I want to come back to Profundo for just a bit because the experience and the flow is so different than the other ones. I want to explain kind of how it works because I sort of quickly breezed through it earlier and I didn't do it justice. So Profundo is really interesting. The first thing that it does when I query it is it generates a summary, right? Here's my original prompt. It does some web searches, it lists the searches, and then it generates an outline summary here. So it says this summary will be used to outline your document. You have the opportunity at this stage to edit the outline. So this is actually, as far as I understand, going to be used as an input to the next stage in the Profundo kind of prompt chaining experience seems to be what's happening. I opted not to edit this prompt or this outline rather, but you do have the option to read it, make adjustments, add stuff, remove stuff, what have you. The next thing it does is it generates a more in-depth outline. So you can see it's starting to create a title here. And then it's telling me which sections are going to end up in the report: historical significance, economic impact, and so on. And within each section, let me zoom in a touch for you, it has some questions. So what were the primary goods traded? How did the Silk Road facilitate spread through major religions, and so on? And so it's really interesting. I also had the opportunity to edit the questions in each of these sections. I think I could actually add or remove sections altogether. And so that's really powerful. And what this is doing is it's generating another giant prompt for the final report generation, which is what we see here. So all of these sections map to different sections in the report, and there's where the inline citations and so on come into play as well. So I just wanted to explain how Profundo works. It's a 3-stage process, and it's completely different than the other tools, which are really just ask and receive. You put in the prompt and you get the answer back. So Profundo is different in that way. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Like I said, I'm probably going to stick with Perplexity for my quick reporting needs, and I might start using Profundo for more in-depth research that I'm conducting. Really interesting to take a look at these. What do you think, GPT?
It sounds like you've found some solid options for different research needs. Having a go-to for quick reporting and another for deep dives seems like a smart approach.
All right, thanks for hanging out, everyone. Why don't you tell everyone to leave a comment and give us a subscription?
Don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe for more insights. Thanks for hanging out with us.